Star Wars 7x7 episode 2038. Happy February to you. Let's talk about what is on tap in the world of Star Wars stories for this month. Punch it! Hey Ripple Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod and this is Star Wars 7x7. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. So let's dig into what we have coming this month for Star Wars story-related news. First of all, on the movie front, obviously The Rise of Skywalker is still in theaters. We were supposed to, based on rumors and speculation and reporting from various unnamed sources and whatnot, get word about the Star Wars film and director that were going to be slated for the 2022 December release. Didn't happen, so shucks. That's kind of a bummer, and so I'm hoping that February will be the month that we actually learn more about this. And we've talked about the time frames for getting to work on this December 2022 release, and if it is going to happen and it's going to stay on the Disney calendar, then stuff has to get in motion this year. I mean, again, we talked about this in the very beginning of the year when we did the episode about, what to look forward to in 2020 in general, and casting and initial pre-production and scripting should be happening this year if that movie is going to hit the December 22 release. So yeah, hopefully we're going to hear something about it in February because we didn't hear about it in January. So that's that for that. As far as the TV front, well, The Mandalorian should be in production soon if it's not in production already. I don't think we've gotten a formal announcement, just a note that it's going to be back in the fall of 2020. So they ought to be in production on that pretty darn soon, I would imagine. As far as the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, well, hopefully they will have their script issues worked out. Maybe not this month, but they are still supposed to be getting the ball rolling, so that will be in the works. And we haven't had any word on the Cassian Andor series in a while, so it'll be interesting to see if we get some news about that. But I'm not necessarily expecting anything, just that at some point they have to move from pre-production to actual production to principal photography. So hopefully that happens this year, but I don't know if it's going to happen in February necessarily. On the animation front, well, that's probably where the biggest news is happening. The Clone Wars Season 7 is debuting on February 21st, so that is going to get underway and rolling. The first 2 episodes of the show will debut in February, so that is super exciting. Star Wars Resistance Season 2 is coming to Disney Plus as of February 25th, so the whole series will be on Disney Plus, then Season 1 is already there. But yeah, the Clone Wars Season 7, that is really probably the big debut Star Wars story news that's happening during the month of February. On the book side, there's only one book that's scheduled to come out in the month of February, and it's a children's picture book. It's R2-D2 is Lost, which is being billed as the second installment of the Droid Tales series. The first one would be the one C-3PO does not like sand, so that one's happening. And on the comics side, it's kind of quiet, actually. The first Darth Vader comic of the new series, I guess it would be Volume 3, is coming out. And that's the series, we talked about this before on the podcast, but in case you would like the reminder, it's the one where it examines Darth Vader's reaction to the events of The Empire Strikes Back and follows him on his crazy, mad bloodlust rage that results that results from the whole encounter with Luke on Bespin. And speaking of that time period after The Empire Strikes Back, the new volume of Star Wars, that would be issue number 3, taking place in between Empire and Jedi, is coming out, along with the 3rd issue of The Rise of Kylo Ren, and Star Wars Adventures, which is the comic that tends to be pitched more toward younger readers. That one has a new issue coming out as well. And that's it. No other miniseries, no reboot of Dr. Aphra. That's coming later on this month, or later on this year, I should say. I think April we talked about. There is one other big piece of news that was sort of finally revealed, but not really. And I'll explain what the deal is with that in a moment. Stay tuned. Hey Rebel Rouser, I've made some changes to the asteroid belt level at patreon.com/SW7X7, and they are all with sponsors in mind. So if you want to get the word out about your business, your product, your service to a dedicated Star Wars audience, then please check out patreon.com/SW7X7 and look for the asteroid belt level for details. Again, that's patreon.com/SW7X7. Welcome back. So, the Project Luminous situation. Here's what the deal is. We were supposed to get word about it in January, and we did from a certain point of view. Clayton Sandell, who is with ABC News and who is also a big Star Wars guy, he tweeted out that we are going to get more information about Project Luminous on February 24th. So that's also coming this month. So man, the end of February is going to be pretty intense. The launch of Clone Wars Season 7, Project Luminous information, and Resistance Season 2 heading to Disney+. But here's what Clayton said about the Project Luminous business. Here's what we know so far. He says, as already announced, it's a publishing effort to tell a big interconnected Star Wars story. Key, don't hold your breath for any movie, TV, game tie-ins. On February 24th, we'll learn about stories, characters, release dates, and most intriguing, the era. Hashtag no spoilers. So I will say, first of all, working backwards, that era business, right? We keep hearing about the High Republic, whatever that is, which in fact, we'll get to that, don't worry. And in, ample time before the Project Luminous announcement happens, but yeah, the fact that they're talking about it being in a specific era, well, that suggests that that is of major interest. I mean, it could also be sequel or prequel or original, but I don't think that's what it's going to be. There had been rumors kicking around, and I thought it was a bit odd, that this would launch with a video game tie-in, but clearly this is not going to be the case. And I'd say that if we're talking about trusted sources, Clayton Sandell is probably about as trusted as you're going to get, okay? So yeah, I think that's worth, investing your belief in, basically. And it makes sense that he's describing it as a publishing initiative, publishing in all caps, because ultimately this started with Michael Siglain, who is the creative director for Lucasfilm Publishing, and the people he gathered around him are all writers of various books and comics. So yes, it does make sense that this would be a publishing initiative, not necessarily a movie, TV, or game initiative. I suppose it wouldn't surprise me if, this is successful, then down the line, maybe this could lead to media in other types of media. Yeah. But not for now. Let's see how this particular initiative goes. So now we have another little bit of information about it and more to come in just a few short weeks. So there you go. That is the look at February as far as we know so far in Star Wars stories, and that is going to do it for this episode of the show as well. Thank you so much for joining me for it as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
Star Wars 7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2020 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.